All right, so today we're here with Alba, who is my dear friend and also a client of mine. I would love to talk with Alba to just kind of see where she is now in her life, talk about her immigration process.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy that we had the pleasure of meeting each other in Wisconsin back in 2008 when I went to do an exchange program as part of my university degree. And I remember meeting you. You were like the star at the school, and we all wanted to talk to you. You have always been super fun and super knowledgeable, and yeah, super fun to be around with. So I had the pleasure of meeting you then, and ever since, I'm just so grateful that we have continued to stay in contact and be friends for all these many years. And you haven't even met my friends and family, and we all like are really happy to have you in our lives. I moved to the United States in August 2020, back to it, because I did a couple of exchange programs here in the US, but I moved back to Mexico and then I decided to do my master's here in the United States. And during the process of doing my master's degree, I was blessed to meet my husband, and we decided to get married and to go through the whole immigration process. And I knew the perfect guy to walk me through this immigration process. So I contact you to see what the options were, as I was um was it F1 student, or what was my visa called? Was it the F1?
The F1
Yes.
or
Yeah, so
international.
I was under the F1 and I was about to go to the work permit that is given after completing the master's degree. So yeah, we hire you and we sat down together to see what our options were, if we continued with the F1 work permit or if we went like go through the permanent residence path. And it was so helpful to be supported by you through this process, because it's really an overwhelming process and there's a lot of questions. And having a person who is as knowledgeable and compassionate as you are was super helpful for us. Well, I think I was very lucky that my master's program, and the visa included that work permit, the OPT permit after graduating. And I feel that that gave me a peace of mind when I was thinking ahead of my future, of what it was going to look like after graduating, and the fact of having that opportunity to look for an employer to get the visa sponsor and eventually start a life here in the United States. That was, I guess, give me a sense of control. And then after meeting my husband, I think I went through difficult time in which I needed to decide, okay, which path am I going to choose? I don't know if you remember us talking, like, if I stick to the OPT and what would that look like? And then after that, applying to the permanent resident and just taking those decisions, because applying to the permanent residence meant that I was not going to be able to go to back to my country. I was going to back to my country every 3 weeks, and then suddenly not being able to go to my country for many months was something very scary. And the possibility also of like not being able to work for a certain number of months because I was going to need to wait for that permit. And I think it was like a lot of uncertainty during that period. And I think I also felt really imprisoned because I'm a bird. I love traveling. I love like just moving around all the time. So the fact that I needed to stay in one place while I wait through the immigration process, it was very hard. And also just navigating all the requirements that were asked, making sure that they were going to be good enough for the USCIS office was also very nerve-wracking. Especially, I'm a perfectionist here, so it's just like giving you everything. I was like, oh my god, is this gonna be like good enough? Like, I think it was super helpful to debrief those and just brainstorm those ideas with you, and you providing us what the benefits of going one route were, versus the other route, what were the cons on one end versus the other, and then weighting those options with my husband, and was also like very important for us to decide, okay, what feels right now, what will give us more certainty, what will give us less anxiousness. And like, how soon do you want to travel? Like, do you want to leave this like experience of the permanent residence later on when we are like 2 years of marriage and you start like the immigration process then, and then considering where is my family in Mexico at right now? The kids are young, and do I want to see them like this year, or just wait for like the next, and like just wait a little bit to decide like, okay, I will start the process later on. So when they're older, like, considering all those many factors. And at the end, we ended up like realizing that it was just better to start the process of the permanent residence. We were going to do it anyways later
Mhm.
on the road. So just go through that since it was nerve wracking already to think about it, to do it in the future.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, I think you really touch on something that uh, it's so important, that immigration is not just paperwork. It's life basically. You have to consider so many different aspects of your career, your future, your family, your health, your relationship. That it's not just about filing paperwork. And we had a lot of conversations, all three of us, being like, okay, let's weigh this option, let's weigh that option. So yeah, I 100% agree with what you said.
oh, I think it was something that I was not looking for. I came to the US just with my mind focused on, I'm going to do my master's degree. I'm going to get some experience, and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing on in terms of business. And I've always been very like focused on my career. So I never gave a thought of like, oh, my focus is to find a husband. But I think it's like when you're not looking for that, it comes, right? And it just flows to you, and it was something completely unexpected that changed my life. So I'm just so grateful that I got to meet him, and we were not even living on the same city, so it was just like completely unexpected.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you said you did not come here looking for a husband. Love happens when you least expect it, 100%. And you have such a beautiful love story, because you're right. You guys weren't living in the same place, but you made it work. And I loved watching your relationship in papers. And then I also, I haven't met Brendan in person, but I look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, it was. I think it's been the hardest stage of my life. Because as I said before, I am used to traveling a lot in and out of the country. Even when I was in Mexico, I'll be in Canada, I'll be in the US, I'll be in Asia. I've always was like moving, and that's my nature. So for the first time, life was like, no, lady, you're gonna stay in one country. And I think that was super hard. And I was used to just going to my family, always going back to visiting how my sister was, how my mom was doing, the kids. I'm an auntie, and I love being an auntie. So not being able to go back to my country, and even like in my country, I do my hair, my nails, I do my health treatments, I do everything. So for a period of time, I was not able to do anything of what I used to. And that was very challenging. I think if it wasn't because of the support of my husband and your certainty, and like, this is gonna go through, don't worry, everything is just flowing. I don't know where like my level of stress would have been, but it was very stressful, and just the waiting period, like one gets to be impatient, and I think I got obsessed at looking at the mail. I'm like, I need that envelope, you know. And every time I saw an envelope from the USCIS, I'm like, is this the parole? Is this like, this or that? And so I think that was like very stressful. Oh my God, I think I cried so much with my husband. I was like, no, I think this is going to just delay our process even more. And I think by then we had been waiting for what, 6 or 7 months, I think, maybe, or a little less. I cannot remember, but yeah, it felt like a long time, and just like having to sit to provide more documentation and more letters of references from friends and stuff. It felt like I was doing something wrong, and that there was a possibility that I was going to get deported, and my husband and I were going to be going to Mexico and live there because we were not going to be able to stay here in the United States. So it was like really rough uh, to go through that process as well. It just felt like a delay and a setback, but it ended up being the best, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The first, it's so stressful to first deal with U.S. immigration or the immigration laws, and then to see that, oh, we got an RFE. Is it because we didn't submit enough documents? Even though I think our first application was more than 250 pages, I think it makes you question a lot of things. But we were able to put together a packet real fast. I remember I was actually in Malaysia on holiday when we were putting the RFE together, or the response together. And we did it. And, we gave US immigration. The thing is, they were asking the same documents. So it was very confusing. It's very stressful. But I think that's when having an attorney is really important, because we routinely go through this. We know what they're looking for. We know that, don't worry, this is going to be fine. We just have to gather more documents and give it to them. And we did. We give them double of what we initially sent, because it's been maybe 6-7 months after the initial application. So there were updated documents that we could submit. So yeah, 100%. It was very stressful, I can imagine. But I gotta say, you both are one of my favorite clients, because you were always so prepared, so fast, so thorough, and it's just so nice. So as an immigration attorney, I think sometimes having clients who are organized really help us make our job a little bit easier. But also, at the end of the day, your love story better than anybody in the world. My job is to help tell your love story to immigration, right? And so you guys made my job of doing that so much easier. And I loved working with the two of you.
Thank you. We did too.
After filing the RFE, we got a response pretty quickly. I remember. I don't remember how fast after that, but I do remember it was quite fast.